News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Nathan Hager.
And I'm John Tucker.
John, we begin in Wyoming and the Federal Reserve's annual Jackson Hole Economic Symposium. Federal Reserve Chairman Kevin Warsh is set to deliver his much-awaited keynote address. Markets are trying to anticipate what, if anything, Warsh will have to say. We begin team coverage with Bloomberg Economics Chief U.S. Economist Anna Wong.
Warsh has a simple message that he needs to deliver if he wants to strengthen his credibility with the market, which is he just needs to answer a couple questions. Number one, affirm that PCE inflation is the sole metric for judging the Fed's 2% inflation target. The second question he needs to provide is to provide a framework for markets to understand how he is going to react to inflation data that is going to be coming in the next couple of months, and also unemployment rate. In other words, his reaction function. All in all, we don't think he's going to be providing the specificity that the market is looking for to get any reassurance.
And Bloomberg Economics Chief U.S. Economist Anna Wong. Now, the Warsh speech is slated for 10 a.m. Wall Street time. Tom Keene is in Jackson Hole covering it for Bloomberg Radio and Television.
Huge anticipation for what we're going to see at 10 a.m. This morning. It is not a normal Jackson Hole. There's no question about that. I remember in 2007, right after LIBOR OIS went out 4 standard deviations, the beginning of the financial crisis, the tension here. But that was a tension of the system. That was a tension of our finance. This is a tension of a newly minted chairman who even his ardent supporters suggest has stumbled into this meeting. How does he do a reset? No, there's 8 opinions. I got 28 flavors. Maybe it is like Howard Johnson's, but the answer is the 28 flavors will know much more at 10 o'clock when those headlines come across the Bloomberg. Michael McKee will be in the room with the assembled academics. It will be dry. It'll be interesting to see. Do they applaud? Do they clap? Do they cheer? Will there be a leaden silence? I don't know. But what we'll know is at 10 o'clock, it will be market moving in bonds, in equities. Fascinating to see how the U.S. dollar does as well.
Join Tom Keene this morning for a special edition of Bloomberg Surveillance, live from the Jackson Hole Economic Symposium. He's going to be with Lisa Abramowitz and Michael McKee, speaking with Fed experts on the path forward, starting at 9 a.m. Wall Street time on Bloomberg Radio, Bloomberg Television, and the Bloomberg Business app.
And as we await those remarks from Chairman Warsh, John, we continue to update you on a tragic story overseas. Rescuers are racing to find hundreds missing 2 days after flash floods struck the Himalayan border between Nepal and China. The Associated Press reports the death toll is past 470 now, with more than 1,500 still missing. The State Department says 90 Americans may have been affected by the flooding. 3 have already been rescued. At the White House, President Trump says the U.S. is offering help.
We've called Nepal and we've offered any help that they need. You know, we have a very good relationship with Nepal, and that was that wasn't just, that was mud and water as a mixture. Nobody's ever seen anything quite like that. We're very powerful, strong, well-built buildings were wiped out like they were toothpicks. That's a terrible thing. No, we are sending aid. And we've spoken to the leadership, and we let them know anything they want, we'll have.
President Trump speaking from the Oval Office as the State Department says the U.S. is sending $500,000 in aid through a Catholic charity.
And now to the latest from the Middle East. Today marks 6 months since the U.S. and Israel launched their war with Iran, and now the U.S. is claiming a milestone. The head of U.S. Central Command, Admiral Brad Cooper, says the Strait of Hormuz is clear of Iranian mines.
These are the long-standing lanes international shipping has historically used to transit the Strait of Hormuz. And over the past few months, our forces meticulously and quietly cleared them of sea mine threats using a combination of Navy divers, Navy SEALs, and U.S. air power from the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marine Corps.
CENTCOM Commander Brad Cooper, he posted that report in a video on X. A Bloomberg Middle East correspondent, Abir Abu Omar, reports shipping through the strait is increasing.
Goldman put out a report suggesting that we are back to two-thirds of the amount of shipments from the Persian Gulf that were there before the war had started. That amounts to about 15 to 16 million barrels of oil on a daily basis in crude products. And I was speaking to our energy colleagues earlier, and they noted that that kind of falls in line with some of Bloomberg's own estimates.
Still, Bloomberg's Abir Omar reports U.S. allies have warned privately the strait may still be mined. U.S. officials say that assessment, though, is outdated. Meanwhile, Iran's foreign minister says he's had creative discussions with Qatar's prime minister. He posted on X that putting diplomacy back on track isn't impossible, but he says it hinges on the U.S. understanding that pressure doesn't work.
That's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm John Tucker.
I'm Nathan Hager, and this is Bloomberg.